Well, hello, good afternoon, my lovely ladies. How are you all? Right, I am live. I need to end this other thing though. There we go. Oh, still live. Yeah, hi. I hope you've all had an amazing day. I am looking particularly shiny, so let's call it glowy. I'm looking glowy today. So if you are with me at 5 o'clock on Wednesday, the 18th of May, give me a hashtag live in the old comments box. And if you're catching me on replay, give me a hashtag replay. So tonight's masterclass is coming to you after 2 requests, and it's going to be a mishmash mindset calories mishmash. But first, I want to talk about the May offer. So we've got 2 spaces left for the May offer, which is ending at the end of May, strangely enough. And it's affectionately called the pre-holiday bundle. Now, I want to be very clear that it's not necessarily, for somebody that just wants to lose half a stone for their holiday and doesn't really happen when they come back from their holiday. It is still about creating longevity, about creating a permanent transformation and creating a sustainable lifestyle so that you can go on holiday and not give 2 shits about what you do in terms of eating, because you know that you've got the tools and the education and the knowledge to be able to maintain your good healthy habits. So the May offer is for people that are ready to get started with the next 7 days. So that means in terms of you're not suddenly knocking down your kitchen and not going to have any cooking facilities. It means that you need to do something starting now. It's for women that have 1 to 3 dress sizes that they want to lose, and it's for women who are fed up of either emotional eating, comfort eating, being very all or nothing in their approach to dieting. Okay, so if that's you and you do want to drop multiple dress sizes permanently, then you need to DM me May or May offer or something that signifies what it is. And we'll have a quick chat and see where you're at and see what we need to do. And then, even just messaging isn't you signing a contract to go, oh my God, I'm getting coaching. I am very particular about who we have as clients. So it is just a conversation because it has to be a good fit for both you and for me. And that does require a chat. Hi, Susanna. How are you doing, my lovely? So yeah, that's the May offer. We are working through, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I'm going to America in June for 3 weeks with my lovely husband and my lovely son, and we're going to visit family. I've got auntie and uncle and cousins in California, so we're going to do a bit of a road trip, see some family, do some cool funky things, and then when we come back, we're going to go and see Guns N' Roses in Glasgow. So I'm kind of like, let's do amazing things that's going to happen. Yay, can't wait. So if you have been to California and you do have any hints and tips for me, please, please, please let me know, because you know what it's like. You can read all the Lonely Planet guides and the Rough Guide to books, but nothing beats a little bit of a personal recommendation, does it? Especially if you've got kids, because you always find like these guides aren't really cut out for 10-year-olds, are they? Right, so was there anything else that I wanted to chat about? I don't think there was. Let me check my ridiculously long to-do list. No, there's not. I'm still building a website. We're doing a lot of technical stuff in the background, which is like scaring the bejesus out of me, but it's fine. So tonight we are talking about kcals, otherwise known as calories. Now, I didn't get an idea of what people want to know about calories, so I'm just going to riff on the basics. So calories are a unit of energy. Okay, so our body operates on energy in, energy out. It's energy. I can't remember the quote, but the laws of physics are pretty much energy has just moved about in and out and round in circles and all over the place. But a calorie is a unit of energy. So when we consume food, aka calories, we are consuming energy. When we are when we have a surplus of calories in, that turns into fat. And when we have a negative balance of calories, we use fat. We burn fat. Okay, so calories in, calories out. That is the science of fat loss. The end. I'm not arguing with anybody about keto and intermittent fasting. The end. Science says. So when we consume too many calories, we put on body fat. When we consume less calories, we will lose body fat. There are a lot of things in between that are going to impact the number on the scales, because if we burn body fat, that might not always show on the scales because of other body functions that are going on. And also when we gain weight on the scales, that's not necessarily fat that we're gaining. And I want to give you an example of that. So stand in the scales, say you stand in the scales, you're 160 pounds, okay? And then you go for 2 weeks eating in a calorie deficit, and you stand in the scales after 2 weeks and you're 160 pounds. Like, what the fuck is actually happening here? So there's a number of things here. Now, you've got to remember, standing the scales is a snapshot in time. It doesn't really tell a full story, and that's why you have to look at other mechanisms like tracking, like photos. I've just had a conversation with a client about the numbers and scales hasn't changed that much, but the photos show a huge difference, and that's why you've got to look at different measurements, and that's why so many people just give up and go, oh well, nothing's working. In actual fact, it is working. It's just because where you've got that snapshot in time isn't reflective. So say for example you have spaghetti bolognese for your dinner the day before, and you have eaten 2 hours later than normal on the evening before you've weighed yourself. You are going to have more volume of food in your stomach because you've not digested all of that pasta yet. But also when you have carbs, your cells fill with fluid. So a biological function is that your cells, there's a whole bloody chain of events, but basically your cells fill with fluid. And obviously if your cells have got more stuff in them, they're going to have more volume, which ultimately weighs more. So that's one of the reasons why that when you say you've been good all week, and then you have a big dirty pizza and some crisps, and then you get on the scales the next day and you're like, shit, I have gained 8 pounds. It's unlikely to have been body fat if you've been in a big enough calorie deficit all that week. Like, it needs to, as a very basic calculation, and it's not wholly accurate, but basically you need to have consumed over nearly 4,000 calories over your maintenance calories to gain a pound of fat. Okay, so that's why it's always important to understand what's going on with your body when we're weighing ourselves. Okay, so calories are energy in and energy out. But basically, in order to lose body fat, we need to be in a calorie deficit. Now, that's how all diets work. That is how Weight Watchers work. That's how Slimming World works. That's how keto works. That's how intermittent fasting works. That's how Cambridge works. All of these things operate in the same principle. They've just got different tactics and how they deal with it. So there is nothing magical in sins. There is nothing magical in eating green foods and red foods. I don't think someone will do that anymore, do they? And there's nothing magical, like if you're doing fasting, like if you eat a biscuit at 5 to 12, that doesn't suddenly mean that you have failed in your diet because it's not after 12 o'clock. There's nothing magical that happens at 12 o'clock. It's just a different tactic in reducing your calories. So there's no need for it to be overcomplicated. Genuinely, there is no need. Because we find, like, I've had clients come in and say, but I've done keto fasting. Like, what the fuck is keto fasting? And it's just using intermittent fasting and keto at the same time. And that worked really well for me. Like, why are you here? Oh, because I've gained 2 stone since then. Well, of course you have, because you've gone back to whatever it was you were doing before. So you've been in a calorie deficit, regardless of a keto, regardless if it's fasting. Nothing magical about those things. And now you've ate normally and gained all the weight back. Okay, so we need to, that's why we have to take a different tactic on how do we embed it, how to eat in a calorie deficit properly and consistently, so that we're not going into this all or nothing peaks and troughs mindset. Okay, so everybody probably knows how to calculate their calories, and there is a gazillion and one trackers, calculators online. I do have one to share with you, so if you want that, please write calories in the comments and we'll get you that sent over. But basically there's a lot of factors that goes into it. So age, height, current weight, body fat percentage is quite an important one, but on the thing that I'm going to send you, it's quite hard to calculate your own body fat percentage. But so on the calculator that I've got, it doesn't ask for that. What it does ask for, so age, height, current weight, activity level, hugely important as well. And when you're calculating your activity level, it's always guidance like if you are a postman or a nurse, your activity level is high, and if you have a desk-based job, your activity level is sedentary. Most people tend to over egg their activity levels, and that's why sometimes the calculators aren't particularly accurate for some people. So if you've got, so most people that have a desk job and they maybe don't do an awful lot of exercise would maybe put themselves as moderately active, when in actual fact they are sedentary. And if you're more sedentary, you need less energy because you're not using as much energy. So if you want that calculator, put calories in the comments and I'll get it sent over to you, and then you can work out your own calorie requirement for fat loss. That's a calculator that I've got. So that's calories. I wish it was more exciting. I really do, but it's not. It's not that exciting, really. But it is vital. It is it is king when it comes to fat loss. And what is also important about calories is knowing what to do when you're happy with where you want to be. So you hit, your jeans start feeling good, you like what you see in the mirror. We need to then adjust for what we call maintenance, which is where you don't particularly, you will always have, like as women, we tend to have maybe between a 3 and 7 pound buffer. So say your ideal weight is 11 stone, you might always be between 10 stone 9 and 11 stone 4. And that's your threshold, just because of hormonal changes and all the stuff that I mentioned before about volume and food in your digestive system. So it's, if you've got to go, I want to be 11 stone, and then you go to 11 stone 3, it's not the end of the world. It is just part of that natural buffer that we have. Okay. So yeah, maintenance is an important phase as well. Being able to learn to eat at maintenance can be quite a challenge for a lot of people, because they've maybe spent half of their life feeling like they're on a diet, and that's the opposite of maintenance. All right, so it's important that we have enough energy in to fuel our bodies. What we do find a lot with our women when they first start with us is that they've maybe spent so long on this over restriction and binge cycle that their energy levels are kaput. Like they're so used to like needing a nap after dinner, and naps are good, naps are good, but if you're kind of finding that you're in that head nodding way, then there's definitely something else going on that we need to be able to manage. So I think we can all safely say that we all want more energy. It would be amazing. Although I haven't had a wee nana nap for a while. I don't tend, my husband naps. He likes a wee nap after his lunch. He's only 42, and I don't tend to nap. Never really needed a nap. And that obviously came across rearing my child as well, because he never wanted a nap either, much to my disgust. Okay, right. Any questions from you on calories just now before I move into the old mind? Any questions, my lovelies? Nope. Okay, cool. Right, so mindset 101. Now, it's really hard to give this the justice it deserves in 10 minutes. Now, mindset at a very, 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 very basic level, mindset is where we talk about somebody with a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. So, at a very basic level, mindset is the differentiation between the I can't do that or things like everybody's talents are given at birth, or it's nature not nurture, or that kind of I can't do that, so why even bother? That's very much the attitude of someone with a very fixed mindset and not believing that improvements can be made. Okay, if you step into thinking about a growth mindset is of the belief that with effort, with work, things can change, whether that is, bodies can change, money can change, jobs can change. Just that belief that nothing is fixed, that there's always potential, there's always opportunity. Okay, so that's kind of a very basic level of growth and fixed mindset. Now, when it comes to what we do, mindset is huge, absolutely fundamental. And the reason for that is most people will have tried different things, or they may have worked with different coaches, or they will have a very negative opinion of themselves and might be so stuck in a rut that they just don't know how to get out of it. But basically, if we can start challenging somebody to overcome the fixed nature of a mindset, or then that's when they start changing. That's when change happens. And it's not about this is a Harry, well, it's not actually, it's not a proper Harry Potter one. This is like, this end here would be your fixed mindset. This end here is your growth. It's very rare for someone to just sit at either end. Most people go up and down this spectrum at any given time. It could be like you might have, let's talk about body change. So let's talk about fat loss. Somebody might have a very fixed mindset about fat loss, like I can't change. My family's all obese. It's genetic. Why even bother trying? But yet they might have a very growth orientated mindset about money, where they think that we are in control of the opportunities that we make, that there's wealth all around us, that money is not evil, money is good because it helps people get better and it can be donated to good causes, etc., etc. So some people can be on different parts of that spectrum on different topics, all right? And mindset is, it's everything. And you do see these kind of Instagram quotes like, mindset is everything, and it ultimately is, because it determines how you do something and whether you do something with positivity or negativity. It determines whether you see yourself as someone with huge opportunity versus being someone that's stuck and not able to go anywhere. And the thing about mindset is, once you start working on mindset, it never stops. It never ever stops. And it shouldn't ever stop, because there is so much to learn about ourselves at an individual level, but about the world and how other people operate. And you can start that once you start working on mindset, you start challenging other people and going, oh, they just said oh, that's interesting. And it's a huge gazillion size topic. It's really, really big. And it's, ultimately, how I see mindset is being able to overcome past blockers to actually start thriving, and actually, this sounds really cheesy, but being the best version of yourself, and not being stuck with all these negative beliefs or limiting beliefs or things that have held people back in the past. And it affects it affects everything that we do. It affects the things that we do, like the actions that we take. It affects how we do things. It affects how we're raising our kids. It affects our marriages. It affects the jobs that we do. It affects our earning potential. It's an unlimited topic. It really, really is. So how do we start looking at mindset. So with our clients, a lot of what we do has to start with inner work, you know, having a look at some things that we necessarily might have said about ourselves that isn't ultimately true. So we need to look at limits and beliefs. We need to look at our whys. You know, what is our compelling reason for changing? We need to look at our goals and where we've maybe said in the past, well, I can't do that. Oh, well, why not? You know, ultimately, the thing that I always ask myself is, and like everybody has mindset farts. Everybody has little bits that they need to work on, and I've got them as well. Comparison can be a huge one, and you're like looking around, going, "Well, they've got this, they're doing that, da 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 da. I couldn't. That's all right for them." You know, it's all right for them because blah, 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 they've got a massive following, or they live in a nice house in Hampshire, or you know, many, many different things. And then you've got to question, well, if they can have that, then you can have that. There's nothing stopping you from wanting to achieve these things and having that as part of your goal. I don't necessarily want a nice house in Hampshire. That was just an example. But if something has been done by somebody before, then ultimately there is nothing stopping you getting it too. So yeah, it's a big one. And even if, you know, true, I don't know what the word is. Even if people haven't done something before, that doesn't mean to say it can't be done. Doesn't mean it can't be done. So mindset is huge. I've got a gazillion resources on mindset. So if you want access to one of them, pop mindset in the comments and I'll get something over to you. It's just a huge topic which I love dearly because it is, the minute I started studying mindset and coaching and how to coach mindset, so many light bulbs just went off my head, like bing 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 bing. It was amazing, like oh my god. And it's one of the most untapped things that most people don't work on, and they should, because the future can be so bright and it doesn't need to be hard. I think that's one of the things that really upsets me, is this whole perception that dropping 2 dress sizes must be hard because it must rely on being hungry all the time and exercising 7 days a week and not being able to drink and socialize. And that's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. It doesn't need to be hard. It will be hard at times for some people because we're ultimately trying to change habits, but it's not as hard as people think. And that's one of the things about mindset as well, is that it doesn't need to be that hard. It can be as simple as asking yourself, what do I believe to be true that might not be true? It's mental. And you get so many things that pop into your mind. Like this is just, I don't know if you can see this. This is my journaling notebook, well, one of my journaling notebooks, and it's got like silly questions in there going, what was I can't remember the last one. Why am I not thriving in this area? And I just put a question mark and I walked away from it, and then 20 minutes later I went, oh my god. So there's loads. So does that all make sense, people? If you can give me a little confirmation in the old comments, that would be nice. Vicky's not able to watch just now. Hi. Right, a final request, everybody. I talked about my emails and I can't remember what day it was, Monday. Please check your emails to see where my emails to you are going. Are they going into promotions tab? Are they going into social? Are they going into primary? If they're not going into primary, just move them into primary and just read them. Thanks. I'm working really hard on my emails and I want some feedback. So find my emails, read my emails, feedback. Go, that was really good, or that was shit. Anything at all. All right. I'm going to go. We're not having spaghetti bolognese. We are having gnocchi. Well, Archie's having gnocchi bolognese. I am having potatoes bolognese. potatoes. And they're actually, I prepped them at the weekend. I chopped them up into little bits and parboiled them, so they're just getting flung into the air fryer tonight, because I forgot to have my potatoes with my lunch today, which would maybe understand why I'm quite peckish just now. So I'll let you go. Have an amazing evening. Love you loads. If you've got any questions on any of this, please pop them in the comments. All right, speak to you soon. Bye 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 bye.